Beth, are you on there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to the RepTx Go-To meeting. As you know, my name is Stuart Murphy, and I am the RepTx Concierge Manager assigned to all of the Providence Health System facilities. When you sign into your account, in the top right-hand corner, you see my name, my email address, and my direct line. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me. Feel free to give me a call. I look forward to working with you as well as all the Providence Health System employees. As we go through this webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me and ask. The whole purpose of this webinar is to get you trained on the RepTx system. RepTx is a relatively simple system to use. It's really user-friendly. It's just a matter of knowing where to go and where to view the information that you're looking for. So in today's Go-To meeting, I'll be going over some of the hospital functions to familiarize you with the RepTx system. Since most of your facilities are already live with RepTx, we will be focusing on the majority of the features that the users utilize, the main hot points of the RepTx system. Also in today's Go-To meeting, I'll be going over what the vendor reps see, how they sign in, and how you can view their information. So thanks for joining me on the call. First off, I would like to point out that RepTx is a free service for the facilities. You do not have to pay anything to RepTx to have the RepTx system implemented at your facility. In fact, the only cost to the facility is the cost of setting up a kiosk. By definition, a kiosk, it can be a laptop, a desktop, any computer that has internet connection to it. You would also have to purchase, if you wanted to print badges, a Dymo printer. Dymo printers cost about $80 to $100 at OfficeMax, Office Depot, and then you would need to purchase labels for the printer as well. RepTx does have a mobile check-in as well, so most hospitals utilize the kiosk where reps will check in themselves. A lot of smaller facilities like surgery centers and clinics, physician offices utilize the remote check-in. The remote check-in is where a rep would check in on their phone using the mobile app, and then they would show it to an employee of the facility that they're entering. As long as they check in via the kiosk or the mobile app, the historical information is stored in the system, so you always know who visited the facility and when they visited and who they visited with, etc. Whereas RepTx is a free service for the facilities, it is not necessarily a free service for the vendor reps. RepTx has two types of memberships. We have a base membership, which is free, and we have a premium membership, which is $229. Base members can upload photos, and they can read and acknowledge your policies. If you require any credentials for a particular category, any vendor in that category would have to upgrade to the premium membership. The premium membership is $229 per year. For the $229 per year, the vendor would have access to all 6,000 RepTx facilities throughout the country and can submit unlimited credentials as well. The first thing I'd like to show you is across this gray bars underneath Help and Resources. I'm going to come down to Help Documents. Underneath the Getting Started Resources, I'm going to come down to the Rep Category Descriptions and click on the PDF. This PDF, in RepTx we have 22 different user categories in which we classify the vendor reps. This PDF lays out the 22 different user categories. It gives you the category and then gives you a description of the category as well. Providence has set the credential requirements for the 22 different user categories. A category like vendor rep with access to OR is going to be a premium category because you're going to require credentials of them. So you scroll down the page, you get to delivery person with access to hospital. Most facilities, this is a base category where the reps just simply have to upload a photo and then read and acknowledge your policies. How a vendor gets placed into a specific category, when they first create their RepTx account, they have to answer what we call scope of services questions. These questions are asking them where they're going and what they're doing within your facility. Based upon their answers to these questions, they will be placed into a specific user category. From time to time, you will find reps in an incorrect user category. If you do that, just simply email me the rep's first name, last name, ID number, in which category they need to be placed into, and I will change their category. RepTrax does give you the ability to track all traffic in and out of your facility. You can use it as light or as extensively as you wish, but I would encourage you to have all reps check into your facility, because then it records the historical information of who visited, who they visited, and how long they were on site at your facility. Any questions regarding the categories or the memberships?
Not at this time.
Okay. I'm going to close out of this and come back to the home page. When you first sign into your RepTrax account using your email address and password, this is the screen that's going to come up. This is your home page. Your home page provides a lot of information as to what is currently and what has gone on at your facility. As we scroll down the page, you get to facility visits. Every time a vendor shows up at your facility and checks in, they will be placed under facility visits. It'll give you the rep's first name, last name, company, facility they checked into, the department, date and time, as well as the visit length. In RepTrax, we do require that vendors sign in and sign out at your facility. If a vendor has signed in and signed out, it'll tell you how long they were signed in at your facility. You can see Michelle Fox was signed in for 70 minutes. Cameron was signed in for 45 minutes. If it states still on site, then that rep should still be on site at your facility. Once they sign out at your facility, it'll give how long they were on site. But if you did want to know exactly the vendors that are on site at your facility, just sign into your RepTrax account and then look for the reps that are still on site. You can also sort by this as well. So if you come into any of these blue fields, if you want to sort by facility, just click on the blue field and it will sort by the facility. If you want to sort by the name, you can do that as well. The names are sorted by first name, so alphabetized. Company as well. I'm going to scroll down the page. You can see Providence has a lot of reps checking in. As you scroll down the page, you get to the recent negative rep score events for the past 7 days. Anytime a rep receives a negative event, they will be placed under this recent negative rep score events. Items that can cause a rep to receive a negative event. Earlier I mentioned that they are required to sign in and sign out. If they do not sign out, the RepTrax system will automatically sign them out of the facility 9 hours after the scheduled departure time. So if a rep shows up at, say, 8 a.m., says they're going to be there for 2 hours, they should check out by 10 a.m. If they have not checked out 9 hours later or 7 p.m., then the RepTrax system will automatically log them out. If the system logs them out, then the rep will receive a negative event associated with that. And there will be email letting them know that they did receive a negative event as well. All right, I'm going to come back to the top. One of the most popular features of the website is the rep search located at the top of the screen. If you wanted to pull up a rep associated with your facilities, this is where you would do it. I do want to emphasize, when you're pulling up reps, you do not have access to all 500,000 reps in the RepTrax system. You do have access to the reps that are currently attached to your facility. Reason for that is when a rep goes in and attaches themselves to your facility, they are giving you permission to view their account information. If they have not attached, then they have not given you that permission. So we'll click on Rep Search. You can search rep by first name, by last name, by company, RepTrax ID as well. So let's go in and search for rep 517268. So this rep shows up, asks you some questions about their account. You have time to pull up their account, enter their ID number, and click on search. In this case, it gave you search result 0. The reason it's 0 is because this rep is not attached to your facility. So in this case, you would just advise the rep, hey, you're not attached to our facility. Please sign into your RepTrax account and attach yourself to our facility. Once they are attached, then you would be able to view their account information. One rep that should be attached to your facility is ID 479702. So I'm going to enter that rep's ID number and click on search. And you can see my name populates below. Once the name populates, just click on the rep's name, and it's going to pull up the rep's dashboard. The rep's dashboard gives you a lot of information regarding the vendor rep. Obviously, it's going to give you the rep's name and ID number. There's also going to give you the user category the rep's associated with, which ultimately determines the requirements that the rep has to satisfy to gain entrance into your facility. It gives you their company name, job title, phone number, email address as well. Once you have their dashboard pulled up, you immediately know if they've satisfied the requirements for your facility or not. This rep has satisfied all the requirements for your facility, and it states access allowed. Also underneath outstanding items, it states none. Since Providence now has set credential requirements and policies the same across the board for all facilities, if a rep is allowed access for one facility, then they should be compliant for all facilities. Let's say that this rep had an outstanding policy, MMR, in, say, TB. If that was the case, underneath outstanding items, it would list the policy, MMR, and TB. And instead of saying access allowed in green, it would say access denied in red. So if a rep ever shows up and they're saying, why am I denied, just pull up their dashboard and look under outstanding items and then read off the items, say this is what you need to submit to RepTrax to gain entrance into our facility. On the right side, underneath views, I'm going to come down to profile details. As part of the registration process, the vendors do have to provide their manager's name, phone, and email address. So if you ever have problems with a rep and you need to escalate it to their manager, you do have access to their manager's information to do that. To see the credentials that the rep has submitted to RepTrax from the dashboard, just click on View Existing Credentials, and it will give you a complete list of all the credentials that the vendor rep has submitted to RepTrax that coincide with the requirement that you require at your facility. So you can see this rep has submitted chickenpox, Hep B, MMR, Tdap, TB, and a host of other things as well. If you'd like to see the exact documentation, click on the hyperlink, and it will pull up the documentation that the rep has submitted to satisfy it. For my account, this is my demo account, so I simply send in my ID number. However, for a regular rep for hepatitis B, you would actually see the Hep B, proof of Hep B shot 1, 2, or 3, or you'd see the positive titer test. I do want to emphasize or make note of when you set users up for your facility, you set them up as regular users or administrative users. Regular users can get to this screen. However, only administrative users can actually click on a hyperlink to pull up the exact documentation that the rep has submitted to satisfy the requirement. I'm going to come back to the dashboard. I don't hear it as much from facilities now because I've kind of got my facilities trained. I worked with about 1,000 different facilities. But when I first started, a rep would show up underneath outstanding items, would just say they had TB. And they'd look at you, and because they're access denied, TB, they'd look at you and say, hey, I submitted that to RepTrax 5 weeks ago, and they haven't processed it yet. Your first thought is, wow, how long does it take RepTrax to process these documents? Up front, I educate all the new users that it does take RepTrax up to 4 business days to process submissions from the vendor reps. We've never missed that deadline in the history of RepTrax. Usually, we have the documents processed in 2.5 to 3 business days, but we do give ourselves up until 4 business days. If this rep is saying that they submitted something 5 weeks ago, obviously something else has happened. So what you can do is come over here to Credential Submissions, and you can see every submission the vendor has ever submitted to RepTrax. You cannot see what they submitted, but you can see how it was submitted. This one was uploaded, and this one is faxed in. You can see the last time this rep had submitted a document to us was August 1st, 2013, which is much longer than 5 weeks ago. So in this case, you would advise the rep, obviously RepTrax never received your submission. Please submit it to RepTrax again to gain entrance into our facility and satisfy the outstanding requirements. If they had submitted something within the last few weeks and it had not been approved, another reason for that is because we might have rejected it. So if they send in a TB, that has a positive reading rather than a negative, we have to reject that submission. If we reject a submission, we do email the rep letting them know, hey, we received your TB submission, however, we had to reject it due to X. So we do communicate back to the rep if we reject a submission. Right? I'm going to show you now, there's a couple different ways reps can check in. I'm going to go back to the home page here. There's 3 ways reps can check in to your at a facility. One is they can check in through the self-check-in, self-checkout kiosk. That's where you have a designated computer that the rep walks up to. Okay. A second way is they can, if a facility allows it, which we have to turn it on if you want it turned on, the mobile check-in. Okay, with the mobile check-in, they'll sign in through the mobile app. Through their phone, a badge will not print. So however, when they show up to the facility, they'll just show the phone to the user for the facility, and you can see that they're checked in, and the historical information will be recorded. The third way they can check in is you can manually check them in. Admin users and regular users can check in reps. To check in a rep, just click on Rep Search. This time I'm going to do a partial first name search. So I'm going to enter S-T-E-W, hit enter, and all the S-T-E-Ws will populate. Looks like you've got a few Stewarts. Find the rep that you're looking for. Click on my name. Pulls up the dashboard. You see that their access is allowed. Now you just click on underneath Actions, Check In Rep. Enter the visiting contact first name. I'm going to say I'm with you. Department, say admin, purpose of the visit, admin, duration of the visit. You only want to put up with me for a half hour. Choose the facility you want to pick them into. Should have chosen the facility first. Half hour, and then just click check in and print badge. As long as you have a Dymo printer attached to your computer, a badge will print. If you do not, again, the historical reference of you checking in will still be there. You just won't have a badge to put on your shirt. So I'm going to come back to the home page. And you can see this rep is now checked in at this facility, and they're still on site. To check out, the reps can check out one of 3 ways as well. They can go to the self-check-in, self-checkout kiosk and sign out. 2, they can use the mobile app and sign out. Or you can manually check them out. To manually check them out, it's pretty simple to do. Just click on their name. If there's a kiosk at your facility, I would encourage you to send them to the kiosk and not to manually check them out. It's an easy process to check them out, but it still takes a little bit of time. So once the dashboard comes up, this is changed from check-in rep to checkout rep. Just click on it, and now the rep will be checked out of your facility. Like it's taking a second. All right, and you come over here, you see still on site. We will refresh the page by clicking on home. And now you can see the rep was there for 1 minute at your facility. Now let's say a rep's misbehaving at your facility and you want to revoke them. You do have the ability to revoke them if you have administrative rights. So let's say this rep, you want to revoke their, just click on revoke or restore access, choose the facilities, bad attitude, whatever the problem is. And come down here and revoke their access. Once their access is revoked, they will not be able to check in at your facility. They will be emailed that their access has been revoked. The only way they can get their access restored, they'll be emailed that their access has been revoked, and the reason why will be emailed to them as well. The only way they can get their access restored is to either contact RepTrax or contact the facility. If they contact RepTrax and we see something like bad attitude, then we are going to refer them to the person that revoked them. If you revoke them for having an outstanding TB or some other credential, then we would, and they had satisfied that credential, then we would restore their access. It's very easy to restore access. Just click on the restore and then click on the restore, and their access is restored to your facility. Also, an email is sent to them letting them know that their access has been restored as well. One other thing I'd like to show you from the dashboard is you require policies for your facilities. If you want to click on policy compliance, it'll tell you which policies they have read and accepted for your facilities as well. So, any questions on the dashboard?
No, no questions.
Okay. I'm going to close out of this. Earlier I mentioned when you set up users for your facility, you set them up as regular users or administrative users. The big difference is this administration tab. If you have admin rights and you have the administration tab, under the admin tab you can add users, you can set and change credential requirements, and then you can upload policies as well. Since Providence is so large, I always like to say RepTrax, the facilities, you can be hands-on or hands-off. If you want to be hands-on and perform the functions yourself, you have the ability to do it. If you would like for me to do it, then just email me the information and I'll be happy to do it as well. If you're adding users for any of the Providence facilities, I would encourage you just to email me. Email me the individual's first name, last name, email address, and which facility they need to be attached to, and I will add them. The reason for that is if I click on Manage Users, because y'all have so many users, it takes a while to pull it up. So I would encourage you to just send that information to me and let me do it. Usually turnaround time is, it's well less than 24 hours. So also underneath the Administration tab, I'm going to come down to the credential requirements. In RepTrax earlier, I mentioned we have 22 different user categories. We also have 27 different credentials that you may require of the 22 different user categories. This page lays out the 27 different credentials. If you scroll down the page, you can see a few of them. And it gives you the credential itself, tells you what it is and what we accept to satisfy it as well. All this information is in each individual vendor rep's account as well. We do try to make it easy on the reps to know exactly what they need to do to satisfy the specific requirements. To see what's been set for your facilities, come to the top. We're going to click on Manage Credential Requirements. You can see the wheel is turning. And then we're going to come down here. We get to the first user category. Earlier I mentioned you set the requirements per category. First category, clinical contract provider with access to OR patient care areas, and you can see what is required for that. So if it's checked in the required, it's required. If it's checked in the not required, then it's not required. RepTrax does offer a community percentage. What this means is 82% of RepTrax facilities under clinical contract provider with access to OR patient care requires chickenpox. 96% require TB. As we scroll down the page, you get to the next category, vendor rep with access to OR, and you can see what's required for that category as well. I always like to point out that if you require any credential for a particular category, that does make that a premium category, so they would have to upgrade to the premium membership. The one exception to that is you may require the RepTrax profile photo, and if that's the only thing you require, then it would be a base category. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. here. Say research personnel with access to facility. You can see the only requirement is the profile photo, so this would be a base category. And again, the base categories are it's a free membership. So, any questions on the categories or the credentials?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to come back to the top. Let's go down to the policy generator. So if you're adding a policy into RepTrax, it's a two-step process. You first have to manage the policy, which is simply adding it into RepTrax, and then you have to assign the policy. So just click on Manage Policies. So if you're managing the policy, you give the policy a name, a description. You upload the document. It does have to be in PDF format. Enter a policy contact name, phone, and email address in case the reps have any questions about the policy. Once the policy is added, you would then go in and assign the policies. I'm going to come down to Assign. And you would assign the policies to the 22 different user categories. So you've got clinical contract provider, vendor rep with access to OR, and so forth. All right. Now let's talk about some of the reports that you can run in RepTrax. All of our reports are ran under RepTools. Under RepTools, you can run the facility visits report, the rep roster report, compliance report, category override, and the flu report. The first one I'd like to show you is the rep roster report. The rep roster report gives you a complete list of all the reps that are attached to your facility. Okay. See that you're going to have quite a few. Let's see how many are attached to Providence. Some of these reports run better in, I'm in Internet Explorer here, but they seem to run better in Chrome or Mozilla or Safari. Let's come down. So there's 20,000 vendors attached to all the Providence facilities. Back to the top. If you'd like to send a message to these reps, come underneath Perform Action, click on Send Message via email, and you can click on them 20,000 times. Or you can come over here and click on Check All. Once you click on Check All, everybody's checked. Click on Perform Action. Since there's so many users, it's going to take a second or a minute to populate. But once it populates, it's very easy that you just put in the subject and then you put in the message body, agree to the terms, and then send out the message. You do have to have administrative rights to be able to send out a message to the vendors. Most Providence Health System users are going to be attached to specific facilities. The reps that will populate for them are the reps for the facilities that they are attached to. Since you happen to be attached to all the facilities, all 20,000 are going to populate. For most, it's going to be a few thousand or so. Taking a little bit longer than I hoped. This is a popular feature, though, one of the more popular features utilized in RepTrax, because facilities are always trying to communicate with the reps. So agree to the terms of use, put in a subject, and then come down here and put in the message body into the email. You do not have the ability to attach a document to this, but you can put whatever you want into the message. So looks like it's kind of died, but see if we can keep this. Yeah. And again, some of these reports run better in Mozilla and Firefox. Another popular report a lot of facilities utilize is the facility visits report. This is a very easy report to run. I'm going to click on the facility visits report. To run this report, you just put in a start date. You always have to start with the year. It kind of gives you the format over here, so it's year, month, and day. So we're going to 2015-05-01, run it through today. Here, I'm going to pick a facility here. Yeah, go ahead, River. Click on Show Visits. You can do it for all of Providence as well, or you can do it by a specific facility. Once you click Show Visits, it'll give you all the reps that visited that facility during that period of time. You can also export this to Excel as well. It'll provide even more information, like who they visited with, the reason for their visit, etc. The requirement set for all of Providence is a common question that I get from facilities. I think, let's see here. I mean, I showed you how you could view all the different requirements. So, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's a pretty user-friendly system. I've been working with RepTrex now for about 4 years, so I know it pretty well. But it's just a matter of knowing where to go. If you ever sign into your RepTrex account and you see Action Alert on the top left, that means you need to take action of some sort. Items that can show up under Action Alert are disputes. Disputes are where reps receive negative events we talked about down here, and they are disputing the fact that it's a negative event. You can click on Disputes, and you can see the different disputes that there are. I set up auto log out, please correct for our visit. When somebody disputes an item, you can take no action on it, keep it published, or you can delete the event. If you take no action, after 7 days it's automatically removed. If you keep it published, then they will retain their negative event, or if you delete the event, then it'll be deleted. So I'm going to go ahead and click on delete and then process the dispute, and that will clear it. And you can do it for all of them, or you can take no action, however you would like to do that. But I would like to say I look forward to working with yourself as well as all the Providence Health System employees. Again, if you have any questions, my contact information is in the top right-hand corner, so please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you very much for your...
I have a quick question, Stuart. Sorry to interrupt you. I have a quick question on those disputes. Okay. When you click on no action or delete or keep published, do they get an email? Is an email generated once we click on that and take care of that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, once you delete it, then it's removed from their account and they are notified. Yes.
Okay.
So,
okay, great.
Yeah, the no action is kind of nothing. It just means you haven't decided how you want to process it yet. I kind of have a rule of thumb. If it's within, I mean, if the reps go through the process of delete a negative event, as long as you haven't personally given it to them, I kind of give them the benefit of the doubt and just delete the event. But it is up to each facility. A couple of things I always say is, one thing that makes my job easy is I do not make any of the rules. Y'all do. You set the requirements for the reps in policies and in credentials to gain entrance into your facility. All RepTrex does is ensure that the reps have satisfied those requirements. Regarding the negative events, sometimes the reps get into a hurry and get a negative event, and I just kind of give them a mulligan. Now, if a rep completely misbehaves and you go in there and personally give them a negative event and they dispute that, then I would definitely keep that one published. But yeah, but thanks for the question. Did that answer the question?
It did. Thank you.
Okay. Well, fantastic. That will conclude the webinar for today. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.